Kia ora tātou, e te whānau o Kahungunu, i kuima i koroma, nā mihi ki a koutou katoa. Apologies for our lateness this morning. We had to go via Hong Kong to get here, but we've made it. It's a pleasure and it's been awesome to see what everyone's doing this morning. We've been doing quite a lot in our rohe, but one of the most exciting things that we've been doing that everyone else in the country's been getting into is hemp. And we've employed this young gentleman next to me, Quintin Swanepoel, who's our advisor and helping us with our hemp project that we have at the moment. So he's more exciting to listen to than I am. So he's going to take over and give you a bit of an insight of hemp overall and a little bit of what our tai whenua is looking at doing in the hemp space. So kia ora nō tātou.
Thank you, Hayden. Kia ora, everybody. It's a massive honour to be here today. Thank you very much. So yeah, as Hayden said, my name is Quintin. I've just finished a degree at Massey University in horticultural science and spent the last 3 years working on hemp, studying it and publishing a few research papers around it. So it's very exciting times with hemp, as I'm sure you've seen around New Zealand. It's a massive potential for a crop. And yeah, I'd like to give you all a bit of an overview of hemp as a plant and then look into what we've been doing with Ngāti Kahungunu ki Tamaki nui arua. If you please. I wish I had a changer for the slide. So focusing mainly on food and fiber for hemp. There is a medicinal value with the CBD that comes from hemp, but we're not really looking into that as an iwi. So just to make sure everyone's aware, you've got hemp on the left there. It looks the same as marijuana. It is the same family, cannabis. However, hemp is high in CBD and low in THC. And THC, here on the right, you can see it's psychoactive. That's what gets people high. CBD, non-psychoactive. So I'm sure no one here has ever smoked marijuana. But the high feeling, the stoned feeling people get is from the THC. The calming effect comes from CBD. And something to note is actually CBD is very high in hemp and THC is very low in hemp, right? So if you smoke hemp, that THC, it can never really give you an effect because CBD is anti-psychoactive. So the more you smoke, the more sober you'll become. Yep. Yeah, can everyone hear me all right? Okay, cool. All right, so looking at hemp in New Zealand, you're able to grow it under a license from the Ministry of Health. And they're quite strict about making sure that the hemp cultivars you're growing are below 0.35% THC. And they do have the right to come in and test your plants and make sure that everything is all good. Something that people often think is, well, if it all looks like cannabis, surely you can hide a marijuana plant in between your hemp. And that's a good thought, but no, you can't, because the flower from marijuana, that'll be filled with the pollen from the hemp plant. And when that hemp pollen reaches the marijuana plant, you end up with a whole bunch of seed, very little flower, and the resulting seeds are going to be low in THC as well. So you're buggering your own genetics, just so people know. So looking at the fiber that comes from hemp, it's known to be one of the strongest natural fibers on Earth, and it's got a massive range of uses. They've used it in clothing, in textiles. They've started building houses out of it here in New Zealand. It's a great insulator. BMW has even used it in their upholstery for their vehicles, so there's a big company already on that. And it can be used for biodegradable plastics, and I'm sure we're all aware there's a huge need for some biodegradable plastics. So flicking over, you can see a few different products. That laptop's made out of a hemp plastic that's been designed. That house is also made of hemp. That clothing is hemp fabric, and in the US, they've actually built an aeroplane out of hemp fiber. And that technology isn't even out of our reach. Lincoln University in Christchurch has actually built a boat out of hemp fiber, and it runs off hemp oil as the fuel. So looking at the biomass of hemp, it's a very fast-growing plant, and it absorbs more CO2 per hectare than pine trees do. And if we're looking at hemp, that's a 90-day crop. Pine trees are in the ground, that whole year, and they're only starting to absorb that much CO2 in their 7th year of growth. So we're able to bring more CO2 out of the atmosphere by growing a crop of hemp than growing pine. It also produces more pulp for paper than timber can, and our paper used to only be made of hemp up until about 1930 when things all became illegal for a range of reasons. And the paper that we can produce from hemp is stronger, It doesn't require bleaching from toxic chemicals, and we can recycle it 8 times. You can only recycle timber paper 3 times. Furthermore, the cotton, the fiber, right, versus cotton, the hemp fiber is stronger, it's warmer, it's more durable, and also doesn't require the same bleaching that cotton does. So the whole Chinese military actually wears hemp clothing because they recognize it as a superior fiber. So looking at growing hemp, that's essentially what my expertise has been for the last 3 years, is growing hemp at Massey University and seeing what different planting densities and different fertilizer rates will give us the best growth. So Massey University is actually partnered with Ngāti Kahungunu ki Tamaki Nui Arua at this stage to continue with that research in a range of things, and that's how I've ended up working with Hayden. So with Massey University, we've essentially just tried to understand what's the ideal way to grow it and what different growing environments will change with seed production or fiber production, different qualities of fibers, different qualities of seed. Looking at hemp as a plant, when you grow it, it's got massive benefits for the soil. So it has a nice deep taproot. Some research shows they can reach up to 2 meters. That helps aerate soil very well. And if you've got a lot of livestock grazing or you've had a lot of machinery on that soil, it can get compacted over time. That hemp is able to mitigate that compaction and actually improve your soil structure. It also removes heavy metals from the soil. So around New Zealand, you may know we've got some soils with cadmium and fluoride toxicities as a result of fertilizing with the wrong products we weren't really aware of back in the day. Look at me back in the day. But those toxic soils, you can't have livestock on there without them getting sick. But hemp has been shown to remove those heavy metals from the soil, making that land now viable again for production. We've also seen it to improve organic matter with that root that remains in the ground as it starts to degrade and rot. That brings more organic matter to the soil. It's really great for future crops. A really cool study, I haven't put it on the slide, but I saw recently in Swanepoel they actually found when they grew a crop of hemp, they were able to remove the radioactive waste from the soil and then take that plant, dispose of it safely, put them in barrels as you do with radioactive waste, no real good way to get rid of it, and actually pull it from that soil. So now that land is safer and you can eventually grow crops on it over a few rotations. Let's flick over. I'll try to go a bit quicker here. Looking at the sustainability, that's one of my crops after just 29 days. You can see it forms quite a dense canopy, so you don't have any light reaching the soil. You don't need to worry about weeds, so we don't use herbicides. It's also resistant to pests and diseases. We use literally no sprays. It just grows itself, honestly. So anyone can grow hemp. And if we go over to the next slide, we'll see, I mean, in New Zealand, the main thing we're lacking is the technology to process that hemp. So that's why Hayden led a team of us to China to meet with the world leaders in hemp cereal production. So we managed to secure a partnership there with exclusive rights to use technology that they've produced, and it gives us a very high percentage of hemp heart recovery, which is the heart contained within the seed, giving us quite a, I guess you'd say, competitive edge when it comes to producing hemp food. Flicking over. Here's just a few of the products that we've sort of developed. We've got hemp oil, we've got raw whole hemp seeds, and hemp protein. The hemp food contains no cannabinoids. It doesn't have CBD or THC in it. It's completely free of both of those things. It's just known as a superfood. It's one of the only plants that contains every single protein your body needs. It's very high in healthy fats. It contains what they call the ideal ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids. And it's also been proven to reduce inflammation in the body and assist through GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, is shown to assist with hormonal balance in the body. So it assists with reducing period pains as well as women leading into menopause. It helps your body reestablish an equilibrium. Oh, damn. Okay, so this is just a brief thing on the partnership that we've developed with Massey University around all this. And on the next slide, it's actually a video of Massey's food pilot, which is the only plant in Australasia that is able to produce food products on a small scale,
Massey
giving you a lower
University
cost,
is the
and then
only
translating that into a larger scale factory. But
the pilot
Shall we
plant is
skip
a
it?
place where food products
Okay.
can be created to
Let
an
it play.
industrial, world-class standard, but in small quantities. That's ideal for product development and test runs. It's used by leading Australasian companies and is a key part of the Massey Food Tech study experience. This fourth-year Massey Food Tech lab is working with something called an extruder. Raw ingredients go on one end, like fruit or chickpeas, mixed with flour, flavouring, even vitamin compounds. It gets superheated, pressurised, and comes out the other side as aerated snacks. They can be all shapes and sizes and flavours with special health benefits or textures. The pilot plant also has an ice cream machine.
If you like. So this is one of the products that we have developed with Massey University. It is raw seed blended it to create a milk. They've worked on it for quite a few months now, and they've managed to develop a product that has the same calcium and protein as cow's milk. However, it's got a lot more health benefits because it's lactose-free. And you may know 65% of the world is actually lactose intolerant. It also contains all the healthy amino acids that the seed contains. And I got to tell you, it's bloody delicious, honestly. It's good. So thank you very much for listening. Sorry to go over time.